Hi, everyone. It's Andrea coming back with another spoken word from this morning. As promised, I had already put another one out from earlier this morning about fire and brimstone. You guys, the Lord's coming back this fall. Please, please, please go watch the videos regarding the revelation of the rapture. Okay, because I've got another video coming out tomorrow night on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from more revelation from the Lord. Okay, as he's tarried these last few years, fully not understanding. Of course, no one can get this all right. We can't even begin to understand his ways. We're not perfect. We have literally just want the Lord to come back so bad. We just have literally, every time he said he was coming back, we really literally thought it was at that moment. But you guys, it doesn't matter the date. It's not about a date, you guys. It's about his return. So I did receive something this morning that I thought was quite interesting. And so let's go through it. He's talking about the Harpazo. So I can only surmise that the Lord is leading his chosen elect to be prepared for the Harpazo coming this fall. Let's talk about this spoken word and perhaps what may be coming to transform those of us with our given tribe and our invitation to the wedding supper of the Lamb. This may be the event that carries us off into the Harpazo. Even so, come Lord Jesus. Will there be a powerful Carrington event to transfigure us like Jesus? We're going to find out. So I heard this morning at 7:26, everybody knows that number, Carrington Event. And I thought, wow, I knew it was about CMEs and all these auroras, but I didn't really fully understand the magnitude of how they're actually created. Okay, these Carrington events. So let's walk through it. So 7:26 in the Greek is harpazo, to seize, catch up, or snatch away. I seize, snatch, obtain by robbery. So this is going to happen in a twinkle of an eye. It's a real word. Some people say rapture because that's a different Latin version of harpazo in Greek. We also have transfiguration and then ascension as well, depending on who you are discussing the rapture and how it all works. So again, it means to properly seize, by force, snatch up, suddenly and decisively, like someone seizing bounty, spoil a prize, to taken by open display of force, not covertly or secretly. So this will be an event that everybody will see. It's not going to be covert. It's actually going to be overt. Okay, we're going to see this happen. Those of us that are going to transfigure. So let's look at Proverbs 16. Where does this spoil and prize also come into play? Those that are not going, right? The reply of the tongue is from the Lord. The highway of the upright leads away from evil. He who guards his way protects his life. Pride goes before a destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to be with the lowly in spirit among the humble than to divide the spoil with the proud. So that's also regarding the elect, that we are the spoil of God, but we'd rather be humble than to divide that spoil with the proud. So he's saying, I'm not taking the proud like Satan. I will not be taking anybody but my chosen vessels of mercy. So these are those that he will not divide the spoil with: the prideful, the proud, the haughty. Now, interestingly enough, in that video about the book of Melchizedek that's been finally revealed here at the end, regarding the Harpazo, or regarding going and walking into the New Jerusalem, one of the things that Abraham, when he won the war against those 5 kings, he gave a tenth of his spoil to Melchizedek. So I thought that was kind of an interesting kind of correlation. Who is Jesus, basically. So Jesus will take his chosen elect, his spoil, to the New Jerusalem. And that's going to be this fall, you guys. I have another, like I said, video coming out tomorrow night, 9 p.m. You're going to want to watch it. So the work of his hands is the sun, S-U-N, and the result of the sun's corneal ejections to create a beautiful work of art in the sky called Aurora Borealis that can be seen near the poles of both the northern and the southern hemisphere. So that's kind of like the bottom of his throne. If we look at the colors that are in those aurora, they're just magnificent colors of light. And I really wish that I could have seen in my lifetime up there at the North Pole. I wish I could have seen all of that. It would have been really an amazing opportunity. So that can be seen near those northern and southern poles. In the north, the display is also known as the Aurora Borealis. In the south, it's called the Aurora Australis. I didn't know that. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a different one, different names for each of those. So these northern and southern lights have fascinated and frightened and inspired humans for centuries. So on April 30th this year, I heard Aurora Borealis at 7:37, and I heard corneal mass injection, or CME, at 7:40. Now, we came into a Carrington, a small one, event on May 10th. So the Lord was telling me that that was coming, but I think there might be more to it, you guys. I don't know for sure, but we got to pay attention to the things the Lord is saying here at the end too. So what would a Carrington event do today? If a Carrington-sized solar flare were hit, would hit the Earth today, it would emit X-rays or radiation and ultraviolet light, which would reach Earth's atmosphere and interfere with electronics, as well as radio and satellite signals. So back in the 1800s, it actually, I think it was 1859, there was a big CME that came in and affected the telegraphs. However, the weird part of that was that those telegraphs remained functional for 2 hours because of the amount of energy that was coming from that surge. So could you even imagine? They didn't need the battery power. So again, what would it do? So if it did hit, it would affect all of our electronics and everything else if it was powerful enough. Will a solar storm hit Earth in 2024? Well, dazzling auroras like this one over northwestern England were the most noticeable effects of a powerful geomagnetic storm that struck Earth on May 10th, 2024. So he was telling me that was coming, but the event also impacted air traffic, satellite operations, global communications, and even GPS-guided farm equipment. So it did have an effect on some things. The Earth's atmosphere more or less acts as a shield to prevent the cosmic radiation, which I heard cosmic rays back just the day before the solar eclipse happened too, from reaching us. There can be measurable effects at ground level, but the amount of radiation is pretty insignificant. This made me think of the Shroud of the Turin and the radiation it took to transform Jesus at his Harpazo, or his resurrection, into his glorious body, again at his resurrection on April 8, 30 AD. What is the electromagnetic radiation of the Shroud of the Turin? Let's go through it. So enigma number 1, the image is only on the uppermost surface of the fibers or fibrils. If the image formation came about through chemicals, then it would not explain how the image only appears on the uppermost surface of those fibrils, but their makeup chemicals penetrate beyond the surface of the fabric. So they know it wasn't chemically done. Enigma number 2, the image shows the whole body. So if you guys have never done a video on the Shroud of the Turin, it's time you do so. It is Jesus. He left that so that we could understand how he transformed. And then as technology got better, we could understand it. Chemicals cannot explain how a perfect 3-dimensional image became evenly distributed on cloth, especially on parts that did not come into contact with the corpse. Thus, something other than chemicals must be the cause of the image on the shroud. Enigma number 3, the image was not produced by vapors. Vaporous chemicals or from the corpse itself do not explain how the image is present on parts of the body where the cloth clearly did not touch the body, i.e., other sides of Christ's projected nose. Okay, and then more on the image and radiation. Jackson deduced that, and I put an article down here too. Jackson deduced that the vacuum UV radiation is the only possible explanation for the image's formation, you guys. So this would be like a Carrington event for those of us that are going. We got to pay attention. First, in order to turn linen into a perfectly photographical sensitive material, you need light radiation. However, it must be without any accompanying heat radiation. This formation of the shroud's image would take several billion watts of light radiation, which exceeds the maximum output of any source of UV radiation known today. Well, wouldn't that bring fervent heat from the sun and from the Lord if that CME happens to come to transform us? I mean, if we think through this a little bit, there's got to be a way we transform. So this kind of makes sense why he's saying Carrington event on Harpazo. So if the accompanying heat energy had been present, the cloth would have vaporized in less than 1/40 billionth of a second. Pretty powerful. Enigma number 4, the double image. The startling discovery of an image on both the front and the back of the cloth implies that the cloth collapsed into and through the body, which is really, if you think what a miracle that would be, right? So there is no scientific explanation of how this could have happened unless the body became mechanically transparent. Well, Jesus was able to go in and out of crowds undetected, you guys. So there's this, it would be like when Philip transmitted over to another mountain when he was with the eunuch. So if you think about kind of time travel, it kind of is like that. But so how do you get from being with the eunuch to going to another mountain in a flash second? He was transported. He was literally transformed and brought to another mountain and kept on, reading the Bible and preaching the gospel. So it's been done. Elijah left in his own, harpazo, and then you have Jesus, of course, and then you have Enoch. So all of this is possible. It's just maybe that's why the Lord is saying this right now, that this is going to be a Carrington event when all this happens. Well, if you can even imagine everything going out and we being transformed, I don't know how many people could really live through that. But it's going to be an event of all epic proportions, that's for sure. So causing the cloth to collapse into it, if the cloth did collapse into the body, then the ultraviolet light would have completely surrounded the body. This would produce a double image on both the front and the back of the cloth, but nothing on the fibers in the middle. Enigma number 5. You can see inside the body like an X-ray. Okay, so the last enigma concerns the bones of the hand, which appear visible as if they were encased in flesh. The process that formed the image recorded both the inside of the hand, the skeleton, and the outside of the hand, the flesh, surrounding the skeleton at the same time. Pretty miraculous. This again implies that somehow the body covered with the shroud became mechanically transparent, and that the cloth collapsed into and through this body. If it had not done so, the image would only be of the outside of the body. Currently, the known laws of physics cannot explain how a decomposing body can emit an intense burst of vacuum ultraviolet radiation. Furthermore, they cannot explain how such a body could become mechanically transparent and emit light from every three-dimensional point within it. So, while it cannot be scientifically proved, it is reasonable to infer that there is some transphysical cause for the emission of this kind of radiation. After all, Jesus was not raised from the dead, just raised from the dead. His body changed from a physical one to a glorified transphysical one. Remember, he was able to pass through solid doors, but he was not a ghost. The apostles touched him and he ate with them. So, if you can just imagine if the Harpazo happens and it's like a Carrington event, he's maybe trying to explain to us that this would be like a mass corneal, ejection that is going to hit the earth so that we can be transformed, which would be from the sun, who is the bridegroom coming out of his chamber, which is just a representation. But you guys, this is so amazing. If you've never watched a video on the Shroud of the Turin, it's time to go watch some of those videos. They are, as a matter of fact, that's going to be some homework for me tonight. I'm going to watch a few of these documentaries. I know that Jesus left this for us so that we could, get one image from him, that he was a human in a fleshly body, but also spirit. And to show us that we will be transfiguring this fall, you guys. He said he was going to bring in the fall harvest. Please, please, please watch the video tomorrow night. If I get any more, I'll bring back as many videos as I can to try to explain it. He's literally telling us so much more here at the end so that we can understand all truth. He said he would do that to his prophets, that he would bring all truth to us. And even though we prophesy in part, I don't have all the answers and certainly can never proclaim I have not all the answers, because nobody would. It's just too vast, the Bible. But I think we need to be looking for this kind of event that would happen, just like it happened to Jesus, with this X-ray kind of ultraviolet light that would penetrate us to change us. So anyway, it's just amazing. And the Lord is so amazing, just giving us all of this information here at the end and all these mysteries being revealed. Again, I can only surmise that this is how it will happen, with a flash of just ultraviolet radiation that would be able to get us to that point of transfiguration.